The routine of a quiet morning interrupted violently, home leveled by an explosion.
Never, ever have I ever seen anything like this before.
Why investigators don't believe this was an accident.
A nightmare for one Tennessee man battling MS. How one signature put his home in jeopardy. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
I called 911 and asked them to please send somebody out because my neighbor's house just blew up.
And blew up it did. We begin tonight with Operation Crime and Justice and a house explosion in Gallatin that sent a woman to the hospital with serious injuries.
Well, tonight the TBI says it believes the explosion may have been a deliberate act. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker with what she's learned today in Gallatin.
This explosion really devastated this community in the early morning hours. I'll step out so you could see what we're looking at here. That's just some of the damage that was once someone's home, now torn down to the ground. In this normally quiet Gallatin neighborhood, residents off Chafin Court were just beginning their morning routine.
I was in my kitchen making me a cup of coffee, and I heard this big kaboom.
That boom rattled this community.
That explosion went through there and knocked that whole window frame out.
Fire crews were dispatched just before 7:30 this morning.
Never, ever have I ever seen anything like this before.
With families running out to see what happened.
We opened the front door. We see that.
Their first thoughts, is everyone okay?
He said that they pulled Jessica out.
My first reaction was, where's she at? Where's the baby at? Because she do have a kid, and I couldn't go over there because I was scared it was going to explode again.
Shortly after the explosion, Fox 17 News spoke with the Gallatin Fire Chief Jeff Beeman, who says upon arrival, crews immediately jumped into action.
There was one victim on the outside of the building that our crews initially saw and directed EMS over towards, and EMS handled the assessment, care, and treatment of that patient, and we secured the area and put the fire out.
The TBI says although this explosion appears to be intentional, the investigation remains active and ongoing. And just being out here, we're seeing lots of that structural damage at several of the neighboring homes. We also talked to TEMA earlier as well. They were out here surveying all the damage throughout this community. This, of course, is a developing story, and we'll have more details when they come available. For now, reporting in Gallatin, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
For a little perspective, here's the area where the house exploded in Sumner County in Gallatin, near the intersection of Airport Road and Coles Ferry Pike, just a couple of miles from downtown, about 30 miles northeast of Nashville.
Well, one of the three men convicted in the murder of nursing student Holly Bobo has asked for a new trial, and he may get it. Back in 2017, a jury convicted Zachary Adams of kidnapping and raping and killing a 20-year-old Holly Bobo. Adams is now asking for a new trial after his attorney says a witness in the case made up testimony. Jason Autry testified against Adams, saying that he witnessed Adams' killing of Bobo. Now Adams' attorney says that Autry made the whole thing up. A judge will rule if there's enough proof to move forward with another trial.
I have grave concerns about this law.
Some Tennessee school districts tonight voicing their concerns about a new law that bans books that contain any new context. This law goes into effect in a couple of weeks, and school libraries are now scrambling to comply. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller live from the state capitol tonight after digging into what critics are calling unintended consequences.
Yes, well, the old state law judged books by its entirety, and the new state law does not. So if there's an image, sentence, or word that's in violation, then that book is banned outright. And some district leaders that we spoke with today say they're very concerned about this.
We have to come up with a policy that complies with the law by July 1.
Williamson County School Board member Eric Welch says this new law is going to have a negative impact on education. He says because this forces schools to remove books by Shakespeare, Hemingway, and Steinbeck off of school library shelves. including the book Roots by Alex Haley.
It's been in our school libraries for nearly 50 years. We have never received a parent complaint about it. And the Tennessee legislature just recently declared that this book right here is a Tennessee treasure.
Welch explains because it's a book about slavery that includes sexual assault and violence. He emphasizes these are necessary books to prepare students for AP exams, college, ACTs, and SATs. Williamson County School Board member Casey Haw adds the new law restricts these things regardless of age.
The law is not making any distinction about grade level. Like 18-year-old.
That's right. It says everybody at every grade level.
Yeah.
It's inappropriate. That's right.
Supporters say they are trying to make sure children are protected. But at a work session Thursday, their county attorney, Lisa Carson, weighed in.
But to remove something like Roots or something like art of only indigenous peoples because there's nudity in it, that becomes a huge concern. I mean, I don't think I've made any bones about the fact that I have grave concerns about this law.
So what can be done? Welch says if a book is challenged, they can ask the State Textbook Commission for interpretation. But for now, they have to come up with a policy that complies with the state law. Now, this law goes into effect on July 1st, and the Williamson County Board of Education will vote on this policy Monday. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you, Caitlin. Well, new information tonight on the Tennessee Star's publication of leaked information surrounding the Covenant shooter's writings. In new court filings, a Metro Police lieutenant calling out a person deemed a whistleblower for talking about the investigation with media outlets, including the Star. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chin breaking down the latest.
This all comes after the chancellor ordered the Tennessee Star to appear in court to explain why they should not be held in contempt. Over the past few weeks, the publication has been sharing contents of the Covenant shooter's leaked writings.
In this Chancery court filing, Lieutenant Alfred Aravallo says someone handed him the complete Covenant criminal investigative case file back in November. Lieutenant Aravallo says he then handed the hard drive with the investigative file to the Office of Professional Accountability Lieutenant Garrett Davidson to store in a safe. Lieutenant Aravallo claims Davidson, who does not work for the department anymore, was the only person at the time who had the key and combination to the locked safe. Davidson filed a whistleblower complaint with Metro Police on another matter alleging misconduct within the Office of Professional Accountability and higher-ups. Keep in mind, the writings have not been released by Metro Police yet, although Davidson has been on the record about aspects of the investigation to media outlets like the Tennessee Star. Pictures of the documents were leaked to a popular podcast prior to this. The Tennessee Star is one of several organizations suing for those writings. The chancellor has not yet made a decision on whether those journals should be released.
A hearing on the leak is set to happen on Monday at 11 a.m. We plan to be there and will bring you the latest updates. Reporting in the studio, I'm Amanda Chin, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, shifting to weather. We said it was going to be hot, and it was.
It was definitely hot. When we hit 96 degrees right here in Nashville, the record for today is 97. That was set back in 2022, so very close.
Missed it by that much.
Just missed it by a hair, Scott. Well, hey, everybody, here's your live look over Broadway. If you have any plans this Friday night, it's a great night for any of those. Not going to have to worry about any rain, and it's going to be pretty warm for you, too. A lot of folks out there on Broadway right now. Current temperature right here in Nashville, we are still holding on to that warmth. We're at 84 right now. We're not going to see a whole lot of cloud cover as we go through the rest of the night, and it is still all dry across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. A couple hours ago, we had a couple of showers, a few thunderstorms that were trying to work their way down from Kentucky into parts of Middle Tennessee, but you'll notice, just like we've been talking about, before it could get here, it just fizzled out. There was only about two little lone storms that tried to make their way down here. Those two fizzled out, so we kept it all dry through this evening here in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Temperatures right now, they're in the upper 70s to low to mid 80s for everybody. Lower 70s in Clarksville, 73 there, 78 Cookeville, 79 McMinnville. We're at 81 in Dickson, 84 in Clarksville, and Hopkinsville coming in at 85 for the current temperature. So the heat is here to stay. It's not going to be going anywhere for the next several days. We're going to keep getting these 90-degree days one after another. We are also talking about a Father's Day forecast. That's coming up on Sunday. I think that's going to be the hottest day for you. I'll show you how hot we get on Father's Day. And also, do we have any sort of rain in the forecast to maybe help drop these temperatures down just a little bit? I'll have those details for you coming.
A severely disabled Middle Tennessee man finding himself on the wrong end of a real estate agreement that is now banned in Tennessee. Sean Ward doesn't even remember signing this right to list agreement here in the state, but it's been a nightmare that he can't wake up from. Here's Dennis Ferrier with a Fox 17 News investigation.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you're better off. This right to list agreement is such a bad deal for homeowners. It has been banned in 19 states. But what if you sign before the ban? That is a complicated question.
Sean Ward doesn't move well enough to work. His MS is debilitating. The only reason he has this home in Hendersonville is because when his grandfather died, his dad made sure he owned the home clear of any mortgage or lien so he could raise his kids and grow old knowing he would never be homeless. That dream's in jeopardy.
What's your greatest fear? What are you afraid of about this right now?
Losing my home, being homeless.
At some time, a representative from MV Realty knocked on Mr. Ward's door. Mr. Ward signed a document. The results were catastrophic. He signed something called a right to list agreement.
There is always a risk.
Elizabeth Bosser is the vice president of the American Land Title Association and has led the charge to ban these agreements everywhere.
This is a big issue because over 25,000 people around the country have signed agreements that could cost them up to 3% of their property value. So what we saw happening in the marketplace was real estate brokerage firms would go to homeowners and pay them as little as $300 to sign a listing agreement that could last for as long as 40 years.
If you cancel the agreement, Mr. Ward owes MV Realty 3% of the value of the house. If you sell your house, MV Realty gets a 6% commission. To make it even worse, Mr. Ward thinks he never got any money at all for signing the agreement.
I mean, they, like I said, they didn't specify why they were there, who they were. And it seemed like maybe 20 minutes they were gone.
We could not reach MV Realty, a company not just banned in 19 states, but now being sued by 9 states, while it has filed for bankruptcy in 22 states. This couldn't come at a worse time for Mr. Ward, who recently met this woman, Donna Russell. Russell has people lined up to fix his house and make it more disability compatible. But no one wants to invest until they're sure the house is Mr. Ward's.
We're trying to correct some things that have been neglected regarding this home. And it's very much within our reach to do that. But with this lien attached, the people that are willing to participate are fearful of participation in investing their time and their finances to do that with this type of document attached to their home.
However, because Mr. Ward signed the right to list agreement before it became illegal in Tennessee, he may still be bound to its terms. The state attorney general's office told me Mr. Ward needs to hire a private attorney to fight the contract. Donna Russell hopes MV Realty will just release Sean Ward.
I want this company to satisfy this document on his home and release themselves from any attachment to his home so that he can be free and clear of it, he can move on. We have some things that have just been beautiful things that have come together to help this gentleman achieve a better quality of life.
So while this may be crystal clear going forward in Tennessee, Mr. Ward remains stuck with some big unknowns. We'll let you know if he gets some legal help to get out of this contract. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Looking ahead now to Sunday, Nashville in focus, when topics for our panel include the increasing divide between Nashville's Community Review Board and the Metro Police Department and the Metro Legal Department. The latest salvo has the Review Board asking the U.S. Justice Department to investigate claims that high-ranking Metro officers worked with state lawmakers to pass a new law removing most of the board's authority. Former Nashville Deputy Mayor Bill Phillips says city leaders dropped the ball by not supporting the idea of a review board early on.
And this stuff of sitting around and pointing at each other and blaming each other for the problems has got to stop. Some adults have got to come together. They've got to say, this is what we should be doing. And for the state to come in and abolish a city agency is abhorrent.
Other topics this week include the amended Metro budget, which is calling for higher pay raises for city employees, and Monday's courtroom showdown over leaks in the Covenant school shooters' writings. That is Sunday morning at 6:30 and Sunday night at 10:30 right here on Nashville in Focus.
All right, heading into the weekend, this heat may disrupt some folks' plans. We're so used to saying it's the rain, but
I know, and
this weekend.
Finally, and I'll take the heat over all the storms, because like you were saying, we've had so much rain, so many severe weather days, and I'm just ready to be done with that. And I'll take a little bit of heat.
Trading one problem in for another.
I'm willing to trade it in for the heat. But just be careful out there if you are spending any sort of long, extended time outside. Make sure you drink plenty of water and electrolytes and all that good stuff. But right now, here's a live look over Broadway. Saw a lot of folks out there on this Friday night. 9:18 the current time, and our temperature is at 84 degrees right here in Nashville. So we're still holding on to some of that heat. Our average high temperature for this time of year is in the upper 80s, so not too far off the average high for this time of year. We were just a degree shy of a record earlier today. We also had a few showers earlier today that tried to work their way in from southern Kentucky, but they just fizzled out right before they got to our viewing area in southern Kentucky, those far southern counties in Kentucky. Middle Tennessee, it was all dry here through today. Current temperatures there in the 70s and 80s for basically everybody. That is a misreading in Murfreesboro, not 66. 78 in Cookeville, 73 the current temperature in Clarksville, 81 in Dickson. It's also 81 right now down in Lewisburg. So as far as any rain goes for the rest of tonight, I don't expect any of it. I think we're going to stay all dry. Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, we started off to a dry start. We're going to stay dry through the rest of Saturday. As we head on into Sunday, we're off to a dry start. Late in the day on Sunday, this model is still bringing in a chance for just a few isolated showers, maybe a couple of storms, but I really don't even think that's going to happen. These are going to have a really hard time getting going tomorrow, so I doubt, even though Future Track is popping up some green on the map for Father's Day, that's Sunday, I think overall we're going to stay pretty dry on a Sunday. Moving on into Monday, a little bit of a different story. More moisture is going to work its way in. This is 5 p.m. on Monday. This will be the best rain chance that we get here in Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky, going with about a 20 to 30% chance for some showers and thunderstorms for us throughout the day on Monday, mainly in the later part of the afternoon into the earlier part of the evening. Tuesday morning, we're off to another dry start. We'll stay dry through the rest of Tuesday. The best rain chance is going to be kind of west and south of here, closer to the Mississippi River, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about much of a rain chance on a Tuesday. Humidity values also aren't great, but they're not terrible for this time of year. It could be a whole lot more humid than it is right now. So it is warm, but humidity values haven't been all that bad. Monday, more moisture moves in, and it will feel a little bit more humid on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of more of the same as what we're expecting for the weekend. 71 degrees, your overnight low temperature tonight, mostly clear skies. The winds are going to stay calm. No rain that you have to worry about tonight. Tomorrow is still shaping up to be a really good day, especially if you like the heat. 73 by 7 a.m. By noon, we're almost at 90 degrees already, and then by 5 o'clock, I think we'll be in the lower 90s, mostly sunny. And tomorrow is actually going to be one of the cooler days that we see for the next several days. But when we say cooler, only talking about the lower 90s for tomorrow. This is the forecast for Manchester. The last couple of days of Bonnaroo. Tomorrow will be at 91. That's going to be the high temperature down there in Manchester. And then Sunday, mostly sunny and dry, 94 your temperature on a Sunday. I'll show you that 7-day forecast and what's ahead here in just a bit.
Thank you, Brett. Well, with the high temperatures expected this weekend, we want to know, will the heat impact your weekend plans? 163 people weighing in so far. 61% say no, 38.7% say yes. This poll is live right now. You can cast your vote by scanning the QR code. Oh, we don't have the QR code up, but you can hop over to our X page. Our handle's at Fox Nashville. You can vote that way, and we will show you updated results a little later in the newscast.
Is the U.S. government
Well, covering the Capitol tonight, members of Congress are reviewing government waste and how federal agencies can better use your tax dollars.
Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins has more on that. You can let us know what you think by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during this story.
As the U.S. national debt ticks closer to $35 trillion, a report shows billions of taxpayer dollars are being wasted on duplicate and overlap spending.
This report is a critical service to the Congress. We appreciate it.
The Government Accountability Office, Congress's internal watchdog, identified 112 measures in this year's report that the federal government and Congress can take to save money.
Even when federal agencies strive for excellence,
there's always room for improvement. We will continue this conversation today, and we'll find out how we can get better.
The head of the GAO, Gene Dodaro, shared the findings with lawmakers during a hearing Thursday.
All these recommendations are really designed to help improve the coordination and collaboration of many agencies.
For example, the GAO found different military branches conducting the same research but not sharing their findings or resources with one another. Coordination would cut down on costs and improve efficiency. The report also found tens of millions of taxpayer dollars could be saved through better use of government properties.
The federal government owns a lot of real estate. It isn't necessarily using that very effectively. And so we've made recommendations that there be benchmarks to help agencies understand how much space they need, particularly now as you have more people working remotely.
Another $141 billion could be saved through improvements to the Medicare system. In the past 14 years, the GAO has made about 2,000 recommendations, 2/3 of which have been fully implemented, saving the U.S. government $667 billion. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Now, during our story, we had a QR code up linking you to our poll, asking essentially if you're worried about the federal government not spending your taxpayer dollars wisely. 271 votes are in, and virtually everybody worries about that. 97.8%. Our thanks to all who took time to cast a vote.
Still to come, why this year's TCAP test scores are causing some concern.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feed America for the Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Program. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, continued coverage on new standardized test scores for Tennessee third graders.
As Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse explains, new numbers show improvement when it comes to reading.
The English Language Arts, or ELA, portion of the TCAP results are in for the state of Tennessee, and the state overall is up, and educators tell us this is a really good sign. According to Tennessee's Department of Education, in 2023, the state made historic gains for third grade reading. This is very important because of the third grade retention law, which requires anyone who fails the test to repeat third grade. And the whole reason this third grade retention law is put in place is to make sure kids have the foundation and the basic building blocks to be a strong reader. Last year, 40% of third graders scored proficient in ELA, and in 2022, those scores sat at 35.7. That's more than a 4% increase. J.C. Bowman, who has decades of teaching experience and now advocates for teachers and students through Professional Educators of Tennessee, says we can take this as a victory.
It does show that the learning camps and the tutoring is having an impact and benefiting kids. The other thing for me, Peyton, the big takeaway is that I think you have to come back and look at, we need to identify these kids earlier with reading difficulties. So we need to find them in kindergarten, first grade, second grade.
What will be telling, Bowman says, is the final numbers of third graders who will have to repeat third grade. And we asked the state when those third grade retention numbers will be ready, and they tell us sometime in the fall, but the TCAP scores should be in by the end of this summer. Reporting at the Capitol, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, Crisis in the Classroom is our commitment to exposing problems and finding solutions for issues in our schools. If you have a story you think we should cover, send us an email to news@fox17.com. You can also call our tip line at 615-266-4149.
In your community, a recent report that raises questions about longer response times by Metro police officers. The latest data from 2022 shows that Metro took 74 minutes on average to respond to calls. Our partners at OpenTheBooks.com broke down the report that was created by members of Metro's Community Review Board. It shows that 74 minutes is 30% longer than it was in 2021. Nashville's a growing city. We know that. Metro Police still struggling to fill vacancies. We know that as well, but these numbers are clearly moving in the wrong direction.
This report looked at several other cities. The only city with a higher rate or a longer time was New Orleans at an average of 146 minutes, which, if you can imagine, that's over 2 hours to get a response to your 911 calls.
Now, that response time that we told you about includes the time that callers waited in queue, essentially to talk to a 911 operator. New York, Seattle, and San Francisco all have faster response times than Nashville.
In your health news tonight, a new drug to treat early onset Alzheimer's disease has been given the green light from an FDA advisory group. Joining us now to talk about what this now means for patients is Dawn Bunn, Executive Director of the Tennessee chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. Dawn, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's talk about this new drug that's in the works, making significant improvements to slow down Alzheimer's disease.
Yes, we got exciting news today or this week by the FDA. The FDA put together a special advisory committee to look at the efficacy of donanemab. That's the name of the new medication. And they voted unanimously or made a unanimous recommendation for approval by the FDA. And we're very excited. Participants in the phase 3 study did show significant slowing of the progression of Alzheimer's in the earlier stages. So this drug is targeting Alzheimer's disease in the early stage and early stage mild cognitive impairment.
Well, do we know early on now the risks and benefits associated with this drug for people to maybe determine if it's right for them? Absolutely. Anybody who is interested in learning more about this drug, and the drug has not been approved by the FDA, so it is not available as of yet for treatment. But if somebody is diagnosed with Alzheimer's and they think that they're wanting to pursue treatments like the first treatment that was traditionally approved last July in 2023, it's called Leqembi, then they should first talk to their physician. And last question, Dawn, when could this drug be available to the public? I wish I could predict that. Unfortunately, we don't exactly know what that's going to look like, but it is very promising that this special FDA advisory committee did unanimously recommend it for approval. So we're very happy to hear that great news. Well, Dawn Bunn, great work that you're doing. Thank you so much from the Tennessee Alzheimer's Association. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, today was just another warm one for us here in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. We broke above 90 and we hit well above 90 earlier this afternoon. Official high temperature here in Nashville, that was 96 degrees. Tomorrow is going to be one of the, we'll call it the lowest temperature days that we see for the next several days. I think tomorrow we're going to top out in the lower 90s. So 93, the forecast high temperature for tomorrow. Average high this time of year is 88. So it's still going to be above normal, several degrees above normal for this time of year. Since we hit 90 degrees today, that is now 5 days so far this year that we have hit 90 or gone above that, and we're going to do that for the next several days too. It is just going to stay hot. Sunday we're at 99 degrees. That's going to be the warmest day. That's on Father's Day. Monday and Tuesday we drop down, but only a few degrees. Mid-90s Monday, mid-90s on Tuesday, and then we'll keep it in the mid-90s as we head through the rest of this week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday temperatures aren't going to vary too much. 95 or 96 degrees for our high temperatures here in Nashville. Saturday, Sunday, I think we are dry. Sunday we might try to get just a couple of showers that develop. I think some of that is going to have a pretty hard time developing, though. Just can't 100% entirely rule it out. Monday is going to be the best rain chance for us, but even then, that's only a 20% chance still. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it is still looking like dry conditions in place. Now for the following week, June 22nd through the 28th, a better than normal chance for more rainfall than normal. And then June 22nd through the 28th, also looking at a better chance for above normal.
Well, it's race weekend, and for the very first time, NASCAR is hosting a cup race at the Iowa Speedway.
Well, Fox 17 News' Heather Williams has a preview.
Now here's a look at some of the headlines you should be keeping an eye on as NASCAR heads to Iowa this weekend. Kyle Larson takes over the points lead even after missing a race. So can the 5-team be beat in the race for the championship?
This team is just, they are on a straight line and they are not missing a beat. They got all cylinders firing. He's at a point in his career, he just got all the confidence in the world.
The current champ, Ryan Blaney, stops by to talk about what it's been like defending his crown this season.
A lot of these places we're going to for the first time since last year. A lot of fans who are local to those areas, maybe it's their first race of the year. Haven't seen them since last year. So it's nice to kind of get that congrats from fans who haven't seen me yet.
And NASCAR heads to Iowa for the first time in the Cup Series.
You know, racing in that part of the country is really good for us. You know, I was just talking about it the other week when we were racing in St. Louis. That's such a motorsports hotbed, I feel like, amongst all kinds of different divisions. It's good for the Cup Series to be there and be represented.
You can watch my full conversation with Ryan Blaney and our expert Chris Carrier on The Backstretch. You can find that on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. On The Backstretch, I'm Heather Williams.
Well, tomorrow's going to be another warm one. A great night tonight, though, if you have any plans, but that heat is going to stick around with us for the next several days. I'll show you what the hottest day is looking like coming up here in just a bit.
And the fight beyond survival, dealing with the impact of
The dream of retirement is slipping away from more and more people as America continues to age. So how can your 401k be contributing to the crisis? We've got answers for you coming up Monday on Fox 17 News This Morning.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has a lot of work left to do and a short time to wrap things up as the High Court heads into its final few weeks.
Fox 17 News' Matt Galka now taking a look at some of the big cases left to be decided.
January 6th, presidential immunity, gun rights, and abortion. Those are some of the major cases the Supreme Court is set to rule on as the term comes to a close. The court partly weighed in on two of the issues this week, unanimously ruling allowing widely used abortion pill mifepristone to still be mailed. And in a 6-3 decision, justices overturned a Trump-era ban on bump stocks, an accessory that allows semi-automatic weapons to be fired quicker. They were banned after a gunman killed 58 people in Las Vegas in 2017 using a gun equipped with a bump stock.
Bump firing, in fact, is entirely possible without the bump stock. You can do this technique on any semi-automatic rifle or handgun as well. Bump stocks make it a bit easier to accomplish.
The biggest cases yet to be decided could have election implications. The court will decide if a president has immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts carried out in office. The decision would have a direct impact on Donald Trump and 3 pending criminal cases in Washington, D.C., Florida, and Georgia.
I certainly feel like the presidential immunity case is a landmark decision for our United States Supreme Court. They've never addressed directly whether a president of the United States has immunity for criminal charges.
Justices could also decide if January 6th rioters can be charged with obstruction of justice. As for 2024 issues, a case before the court will determine if Medicare hospitals can provide an abortion in a medical emergency, even in states with total abortion bans. And justices have another gun case on the docket, determining whether or not people with domestic violence restraining orders can possess a firearm.
Abortion and guns are hot-button political issues. They're hot-button legal issues. I expect both these decisions to be somewhat complex in what they say. I don't think they're going to resolve anything.
There's 23 cases left on the agenda, and with plenty of big decisions looming, the calendar could spill over into July. At the Supreme Court, I'm Matt Galka.
In health news tonight, it is estimated there are more than 18 million cancer survivors in the U.S. A large number, but surviving is just the beginning of new challenges. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chin now with tools to help survivors live with the disease.
Improvements in screenings and advancements in treatment options have led to an overall decline in cancer deaths. But care doesn't end with treatment.
That fear of recurrence is so common in patients, and anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress disorder is something that is well described, and I see it every day in my clinic.
Dr. Sheetal Kircher with Northwestern Medicine's Cancer Survivorship Institute says life after cancer brings unique challenges.
When you're diagnosed with a cancer, no matter where you are on the continuum and the journey, it plays a role in impacting almost every aspect of your life.
Kircher recommends cancer survivors continue a relationship with their care team. That includes nurses, dietitians, social workers, palliative care physicians, and mental health professionals.
It takes a village.
Kircher says to also seek out resources available to you. That includes support groups, exercise and nutrition programs, and mental health counseling. Finally, it's not always easy, but ask for and receive help from caregivers.
I think the patient that does best has a whole team of internal, external, and family friend resources to help them through treatment as well as life after treatment.
Amanda Chin for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, today was just more of the same. It was another hot one here in Nashville, all of Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky too, dealing with some high heat today. We were just 1 degree shy of the record. We had 96 degrees. That was our high temperature today earlier at the airport here in Nashville. 97 is the record high for today. That was set back in 2022. So we had the heat today, and that heat is not going to be going anywhere for the next several days either. Here's your live look over Broadway. Still a pretty good crowd out there on it this Friday night. The current time, it is 9:49 right now. Current temperature here in Nashville, we are at 84. Still seeing just a little bit of cloud cover out there, but overall nothing too bad that we're going to have to worry about. All dry here across the southeastern part of the country. No rain being picked up on the radar. Some of those showers tried to work their way down into parts of southern Kentucky and Middle Tennessee earlier. But most of those just fizzled on out, so really not having to deal with much rainfall at all right now. Current temperatures are in the 70s for a lot of us. Some areas still in the 80s, 80 right now in Lewisburg. We're at 75 McMinnville. It is also 75 right now over in Cookeville. As far as any rain goes, really not seeing any of that in the forecast for the next several days. I think we're going to keep it dry tomorrow. This is 5 o'clock Saturday. We're still dry Saturday, 5 o'clock. Sunday morning, we're off to another dry start, and I think we're going to stay dry too through the rest of Sunday. Future Track is trying to bring in just a few isolated showers on a Sunday, but really I don't think a lot of that is going to have an easy time developing. I think overall we're going to be staying pretty dry throughout the day on Sunday. Moving on into Monday, this is 7 o'clock on Monday. We're dry to start it out Monday morning. Later on in the day on Monday, we could bring in about a 20 to 30% chance for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, but really not looking at much of a rain chance either on Monday. That's just the next best chance for any rain that we have here across Middle Tennessee or Southern Kentucky. This is Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock. We're off to a dry start. We're going to stay dry throughout the rest of Tuesday. That best rain chance is still going to stay west of here. So in West Tennessee, also staying to the south of us. Really not going to have to deal with much of a rain chance here on a Tuesday. And I think Wednesday, we're going to be staying pretty dry as well. As far as the humidity goes, we weren't really too humid today. It could be a whole lot worse for this time of year. And as we go through the next several days, I think it's going to stay about the same. A little bit more moisture moves in on Monday, and that's going to be the highest humidity day that we have here across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. 71 degrees, your overnight low temperature tonight, mostly clear skies. We're going to keep it dry tonight, and then on Sunday, high temperatures starting in the upper 90s, 99 the high there. Monday, we're at 96 with that 20% chance.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Summer Wells disappeared from her Hawkins County home 3 years ago tomorrow, but investigators say they're not giving up on this case.
Now, Wells was 5 years old at the time, which means she is now 8. The TBI says that it has investigated nearly 7,000 leads and tips in the Summer Wells case. And at this point, though, they still cannot be sure if she walked away from home near Rogersville or if she was kidnapped, abducted. Investigators continue ground searches to this day and interviews and say they are determined to solve this mystery.
Children are our top priority at TBI. They are the most vulnerable population that we have. They're our most precious things in our world. Our commitment to the public is that we're not going to allow this case to sit on a shelf. We are committed to bringing Summer home, and we will keep working on this case until she is home.
Picture on your screen is what they believe Summer would look like today if she's still alive. Anyone with information in the case is urged to contact the TBI.
Well, the greatest show on dirt, as they say, taking place in Omaha, Nebraska tonight, and the Tennessee Vols hoping to bring a national title home to East Tennessee.
Can't help but smile. It's a big deal. The Vols' #1 seed in this whole thing, playing Florida State. Of course, the College Baseball World Series. By the way, Megan went to Florida State.
I'm just so torn here.
I'm putting it out there. Now, this is the Vols' 3rd World Series in 4 years. We caught up with the Vols' bench boss, Tony Vitello, ahead of the game tonight. He says being the top seed is great, but once you get to Omaha, anything can happen.
It's difficult to get here, and once you're here, it's even more difficult to win, and part of that is the talent that's here. So the seeding, to me, kind of evaporates. It's valuable in the first round because if you line up those 4 teams, the 1 seed is normally going to get the team that maybe is not as potent as the others. But once you get here, there aren't really any underdogs or anything like that.
You heard what he said. Anything can happen, and that's right. The Vols trail the Seminoles the entire game until pulling away by 1 run in the 9th inning. The Vols win. Let me say it again. The Vols win 12-11 over Florida State.
I'm Autral Nashar in Washington with why the Pope is using his platform to draw attention to artificial intelligence. Coming up.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
New tonight, a Mid-State School District voicing concerns about a new law that bans books that contain any nudity or descriptions of sex, no matter how brief.
Well, that law goes into effect in just a few weeks, and school libraries are scrambling to comply. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live from the state capitol, digging into what critics call the unintentional fallout. Caitlin?
Megan Scott, the old state law judged books by the entirety of the book, but the new state law does not. And we spoke with Williamson County board member Eric Welch, who says that this new law is going to have a negative impact on education. He says because this forces schools to remove books by Shakespeare, Hemingway, and Steinbeck off school library shelves. Welch emphasizes these are necessary books to prepare students for AP exams, college, ACTs, and SATs. Supporters say they are trying to make sure children are protected, but others disagree.
The new law is so restrictive that it defines any nudity, any sexual contact at all, it says is not age appropriate at any grade, K through 12.
So what can be done? Welch says if a book is challenged that they can ask the State Textbook Commission for interpretation. But for now, they have to come up with a policy that complies with state law. Now, this state law does go into effect on July 1st, and then the Williamson County Board of Education will vote on this policy Monday. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a mid-state judge hears arguments today about whether the man convicted of murdering Decatur County nursing student Holly Bobo should get a new trial. Zachary Adams was convicted of murdering and kidnapping Bobo 7 years ago. Well, now the key witness in that case, Jason Autry, says he lied when he testified he saw Adams kill Bobo. Adams pushing for a new trial, and the judge will rule whether he's seen enough evidence to call for another hearing.
Well, new tonight, a Gallatin woman seriously injured after a home explosion off Chaffin Court early this morning, and that investigation is now in the hands of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. But fire crews believe that the cause is from a gas leak. Well, several neighbors called 911 after hearing that explosion. Gallatin Fire dispatched around 7:30 this morning, and the woman living across the street, Janice Wright, telling Fox 17 News that she wanted to run over to help but was scared there might be another explosion.
I had just woken up, went into my kitchen and got me a little cup of water, come in to sit down at my front room table, and then all of a sudden it just hit, and I thought a car had run into my house or something. And I looked out my window, and the window was blowed out, everything was blowed out. My back bedroom, where I just gotten up from, the window's completely gone.
Well, earlier today, fire crews say that they dug up the gas lines and shut off the valves underground to make it safer for the neighborhood.
Now, I think most people know where Gallatin is. It's the county seat of Sumner County, about 45 minutes from downtown Nashville. This is where the actual house explosion happened. At the intersection of Airport Road and Coles Ferry Pike, that's a little more than 30 miles or so northeast of downtown Nashville.
Earlier in the newscast, we told you about our X poll up and running right now, asking the question, will the heat impact your weekend plans? We've had a little more people weigh in, 171 votes, 62.6% say nope, weekend plans are not changing because of the heat, 37.4% say yes they are. Each night look for a new poll on our X page that you could participate in.
And it is going to be a hot one for us this weekend. Tomorrow is actually not going to be terrible. I think Sunday is going to be the hottest day. That is Father's Day. We'll have high temperatures going to the upper 90s right here in Nashville on Sunday. Here's your live look over Broadway. A pretty good crowd out there this Friday night. Temperatures are really good for us still too. And we're also not having to worry about any sort of rainfall. No thunderstorms, nothing like that. And I think we're going to stay free of that through the weekend as well, at least for the most part. Sunday, maybe just a couple of isolated storms, but I think overall it's going to be pretty dry still. 83 right now here in Nashville. We are partly cloudy, and as far as any rain goes, not seeing any of that right now on the radar. It is all dry across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Earlier this afternoon and evening, we had a few showers that developed in Kentucky, tried to work their way down into our southern counties. In Kentucky, they just fizzled out, though, before they could actually do anything. Temperatures right now, they're in the 70s and lower 80s for basically everybody. 72 right now in Crossville. That's one of the lower locations on the map. 77 in Cookeville, 75 in McMinnville, 79 over in Dickson, Clarksville, Lewisburg, and Linden, all coming in at 80 degrees right now. So this heat is here to stay. It's going to stay at or above 90 for the next several days. Sunday is going to be the hottest day that we see here in Nashville. I'll let you know how warm we're going to get on a Sunday. And then also I'm going to be talking about if there's any sort of rain chance down the road to help give us any relief from any of this heat. This weekend, I don't really think we're looking at much of it. Again, maybe just a few isolated showers, a couple of storms that could be possible for us on a Sunday. But I think a lot of those storms are going to have a hard time getting going during the afternoon hours. As we head on into Monday, though, that rain chance does start to bump up, but only just a little bit. I'll show you what that's looking like coming up on Future Track and also that 7-day forecast. All those details here in just a bit.
I'm Atrell Nashar in Washington with why the Pope is using his platform to draw attention to artificial intelligence. Coming up.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are
in science and technology tonight, the Pope weighing in on artificial intelligence.
Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar taking a look at why the leader of the Catholic Church says AI poses serious concerns.
87-year-old Pope Francis making the trip across Italy, where G7 leaders are meeting this week, with the future of artificial intelligence at the top of his mind. The Pope inadvertently became a symbol of the power of generative AI through this image. It's not a real picture of him, but it sure looks like it, and dominated the internet last year. In his remarks to leaders Friday, the Pope's focus was much more serious than memes. He warned against allowing AI to be used in weapons and called for strong regulations that protect human dignity. Back in Washington,
thank you, Whip.
An opposite message coming from House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. He says Republicans are not interested in any major new AI regulations. Telling Punchbowl News, ultimately, we just want to make sure we don't have government getting in the way of the innovation that's happening. It appears to be a major reversal of calls from House Republicans for laws to create guardrails for AI.
I think this legislation is a good first step.
I recently rolled out last week a deep fake bill, an initiative that would take a look at it from a criminal perspective.
With regulation on pause, the private sector is moving at a breakneck pace to generate and integrate AI, with ethics on an honor system.
We're not waiting for a comprehensive privacy legislation, regulation to come into effect. We already view privacy as a fundamental human right.
Wall Street is loving the AI hype. The S&P 500 and tech-heavy NASDAQ saw a marathon of record highs this week, driven in part by a rally in tech stocks like Apple, Microsoft, Broadcom, and NVIDIA.
With all the opportunities that come with AI, there's also the real threat to human jobs. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman recently said there's no getting around the fact that AI will create some jobs, but it will also entirely change how a lot of jobs function or eliminate them altogether. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar.
Continuing coverage, the Coast Guard's investigation into the deadly Titan submersible implosion last year taking longer than expected. The goal was to wrap up the probe within a year, but a Coast Guard spokesperson says multiple factors are delaying the process, specifically the time it took to figure out how to retrieve evidence from the wreckage. Next Tuesday marks 1 year since the Titan submersible imploded on a trip to the Titanic, killing all 5 people inside.
Tomorrow is going to be another warm one. A great night, though, for you if you have any late Friday night plans. I'll show you what day's looking like the hottest and when we could see a little bit of rain coming up here in just a bit.
Apple is again the world's most valuable company. Its stock nudged ahead of Microsoft, helped by AI updates at its Worldwide Developers Conference. The enormous pay package for Elon Musk has been approved by Tesla shareholders, but that does not mean he's getting his $48 billion. Now the issue returns to the court where it was tossed out, and the latest vote is also being challenged. The publisher of the For Dummies book says its content is now being used to train generative AI programs, teaching AI to do a better job. The publisher says it is seeing significant interest in leveraging its content to train AI and machine learning models. Big swings aren't just for the green. The Wall Street Journal reporting your golf skills can actually help you land a job. Recruiters citing a killer golf swing as a valued trait in the finance, consulting, and sales industries, especially as companies and workers exit the remote and hybrid model. Executives may want to tee off with employees to discuss long-term goals and network with each other.
I let the clients I work with win, which is a great strategy. That's client golf. It's a really good way to interact with people in a beautiful setting.
What does it mean if you slice? Or what does it mean if you hook? Does that mean you just try too hard to impress the boss?
And a line of merch from Longhorn Steakhouse, it says, is made by carnivores for carnivores. Steak-loving dads can brand themselves with a temperature T-shirt and man the grill with a Steak Daddy apron. Don't forget the meat sweats and steak socks. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox News.
In your sports news, Game 1 of the College World Series featuring the Tennessee Volunteers and the Florida State Seminoles tonight in Omaha.
Now, the Vols are the top seed in this whole thing, and they're going to stay on top. The Vols taking down the number 6 seeded Seminoles. Megan went there, so we feel for her just a little bit. It's a Vols' third College World Series appearance in the last 4 years, and tonight the game, this is a double elimination format. We caught up with Vols head coach Tony Vitelli about how he tries to prepare his guys before the big game.
During our games, there's been a good understanding of what a 9-inning game is. You don't want your guys getting too high or too low or dog cussing somebody in the third inning and you got 6 innings left or you're down or you're up. It's been a mature group.
Well, that philosophy came in handy tonight because the Vols were behind up until the 9th inning and then they pulled it out. The Vols win tonight, beating the Seminoles 12-11.
It's race weekend, and for the first time ever, NASCAR heads to Iowa Speedway with its Cup Series race. Fox 17 News' Heather Williams has a preview.
Now here's a look at some of the headlines you should be keeping an eye on as NASCAR heads to Iowa this weekend. Kyle Larson takes over the points lead even after missing a race. So can the 5 team be beat in the race for the championship?
This team is just, they are on a straight line and they are not missing a beat. They got all cylinders firing. He's at a point in his career, he just got all the confidence in the world.
The current champ, Ryan Blaney, stops by to talk about what it's been like defending his crown this season.
A lot of these places we're going to for the first time since last year. A lot of fans who are local to those areas, maybe it's their first race of the year. Haven't seen them since last year. So it's nice to kind of get that congrats from fans who haven't seen me yet.
And NASCAR heads to Iowa for the first time in the Cup Series.
Racing in that part of the country is really good for us. I was just talking about it the other week when we were racing in St. Louis. That's such a motorsports hotbed, I feel like, amongst all kinds of different divisions. It's good for the Cup Series to be there and be represented.
You can watch my full conversation with Ryan Blaney and our expert Chris Carrier on The Backstretch. You can find that on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. On The Backstretch, I'm Heather Williams.
In your sports tonight, Banana Land taking over Nashville. The popular Savannah Bananas baseball team playing a series of sold-out games at First Horizon Park. And this, of course, as you can see by the video, not your typical baseball game. The Savannah Bananas, so fun to say, they break out in choreographed dances and other in-game circus-style antics similar to the Harlem Globetrotters in basketball. Another sold-out game on tap for tomorrow night.
And you know, some really good weather for some of that baseball too. Tonight we had fantastic weather. Tomorrow is just going to be more of the same. I think tomorrow might actually come in just a few degrees lower than what we had today. We hit 96 degrees here earlier this afternoon in Nashville. I think tomorrow we should hit about 93 or so. So just a few degrees lower. Really probably not even going to notice it a whole lot. No rain though in the forecast for tomorrow. Here's what Broadway looks like. It's pretty packed on Broadway right now and great weather for you if you have any late night or Friday night plans tonight. 83 degrees our current temperature right here in Nashville. And as far as any rain goes, there is none really anywhere close to us. We had a few showers that were up in southern Kentucky earlier this evening. Those tried to work their way down south into our area, but they just fizzled out before they could actually get here. Temperatures right now for everybody in the 70s to lower 80s. 72 in Clarksville. That's the lowest spot on the map. 76 in Cookeville. 75 McMinnville. 78 down in Columbia. Lewisburg and Linden. Clarksville also coming in the lower 80s. Gallatin right now at 81. I'll show you a future track for the next several days. Really not a whole lot to show you though as far as any rain goes. I think Saturday we are all dry, and then as we head on into Sunday morning, we're going to start Sunday morning off to a dry start. Sunday later on in the day, so late afternoon, early in the evening. This model is still trying to bring in a chance for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. I just still think those are going to have a pretty hard time getting going. Just can't entirely rule out a stray storm, but I think that rain chance for Sunday is still very low. Most areas should still stay dry on Sunday. Monday morning, we're off to a dry start Monday morning, and then a little bit later in the day, more moisture begins to move in. I think that's going to be the best rain chance that we get here in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. That is going to be late Monday afternoon into the earlier part of the evening. We could see a few showers and thunderstorms, but even then, that's still only about a 20 to 30% chance for that. Tuesday afternoon, that rain stays into West Tennessee and also areas further south of us. Not really going to have to deal with much rain on Tuesday or Wednesday either. And for the humidity values, overall not terrible for this time of year. Not near as bad as it could be. Not great, but not as bad as it could be. Monday should be the most humid day for us, and temperatures Monday should still be in the mid-90s too. 71 degrees your overnight low temperature tonight. Tomorrow morning, waking up, heading out, lower 70s by 7 o'clock, upper 80s by noon, so almost at 90 by noon, and we'll keep it in the 90s as we head through the rest of the afternoon too. Still a couple of days left at Bonnaroo. This is the forecast for Manchester. Saturday 91, the high down there. Sunday will be at 94 for the high temperature down in Manchester. 7-day forecast, upper 90s for us on Sunday. That is Father's Day. It's going to be a hot Father's Day for us this year. Monday, 96 degrees, 20% chance for an isolated shower or storm. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think we're going to stay dry. So really, next week is looking like a pretty dry week too, and it's going to stay hot. Temperatures above normal. Typically, we're in the upper 80s. Next week, we're going to keep it in the mid-90s.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Here's an unsettling scene. A group of sharks swimming in a tide pool at Kewah Island, South Carolina. The International Shark Attack File reports 40 shark attacks in Charleston County since 1837. There have been none so far this year. And here's a great shot from high above Las Vegas, showing different types of clouds at different levels of the atmosphere.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
And you can see more weather stories like this weekday mornings on the National Weather Desk starting at 8 a.m. Not here on Fox 17, but over. Tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, a nationwide safety concern as school administrators struggle to find enough nurses.
Fox 17 News' Jeff Harris sits down with a nurse who has seen the problem firsthand.
That nurse tells me her school took advantage of the elementary and secondary school emergency relief funding, which was offered during the pandemic. So the past few years, they had extra nursing staff on hand, but this upcoming school year may be a little different. Jody Bobbitt has been a nurse for about 28 years and a school nurse for the past 16.
So I worked only in public schools in Virginia as well as Colorado.
During her time in Colorado, she says the district didn't have enough nurses, so she floated from school to school.
I think I had 3 to 4 schools, and then we had health assistants.
Right now, those health assistants are becoming a lot more common in schools across the country as districts try to cut back on spending, but they're not registered nurses.
Which typically is someone who has some special training, maybe specifically through the school district or maybe the health department.
An assistant professor in the School of Nursing at George Washington University, Jennifer Walsh tells us less than 40% of schools in the U.S. have a full-time registered nurse.
It increases absenteeism. It increases emergency services being needed.
She says part of the issue is that some school districts don't prioritize registered nurses in every school.
and others are not as supportive and will put in ancillary health aides.
But having worked in schools for nearly 2 decades, Bobbitt says having a registered nurse benefits not only the students, but also the parents.
Letting them know this is not an emergency, but you should go make an appointment with your doctor.
Now, Bobbitt says she's lucky because the school district she currently works in Virginia, has a registered nurse in each school. But once that relief funding ends in September, she says some staff, like assistants, might get cut. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
It's called active gaming, family fitness. That is the first of its kind in our country. I'm Liz Bonus. We're going to show you how it works. Got to go play. It is just ahead.
In health news tonight, how you can get fit, settle down now, while playing video games.
That's the catch here. Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus shows us how a new gym concept is making gaming an active sport.
It is a newer trend in fitness known as active gaming. It is all designed to get all of us a bit more motivated to get moving. Step inside, and as Faith Johnson and Caitlin Hawley showed us,
The game starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
that movement starts pretty quickly. They're both 12 and found out if you're not quite quick enough,
Too slow.
you'll know it. And that's exactly the point. General Manager Kevin Carter here at Ohio's first Activate active gaming experience told me. The company claims to be the first in the world to offer this form of whole body gaming.
We consider ourselves an immersive gaming experience. So what we mean by that is you're kind of using your body as a controller for the games.
It has about 24 sites now across the U.S.
Welcome. Game starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
As I found out, you go in one of several full-size gaming rooms where your brain and your body have to work together. In this one, for example, the goal is to find the matching light and hit it first. If you can do this in a timely fashion, the game lets you celebrate your success. The experience gives new meaning to being lost in thought. The girls describe this feeling as
energy and fun. I feel kind of exhausted after that. I'm just like tired, but then I just go on and have more fun.
It really does take the common couch gaming experience and make you an active participant.
A lot of the games you need to really kind of run, jump, dive if you're really getting into it. So it really does involve kind of your whole mind and body.
Both Faith and Caitlin say they'd do this every week if they could. The one downside? Each session only lasts about 75 minutes. This costs about $25 a player, slightly more on the weekends, and there are staff and monitors and cameras in those facilities to make sure that families are safe. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Well, it's really just going to be hot. That's the story that we have for the next several days. Temperatures are going to be in the 90s for at least this 7-day forecast right here. 93 degrees our high temperature tomorrow. That's going to be the lowest day that we get. And then on Sunday, Father's Day, upper 90s. So it's going to be a pretty hot Sunday for us. Monday, we do bring in that 20% chance for just a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. And that's about the only rain chance that we're going to get for the next 7 days.
I'm guessing that Sunday's close to a record?
Very close. Record's 100, I believe.
All right, have a great weekend. Stay hydrated, stay safe.